Hey everybody, I'm glad you can join me. My name is Jerry, and today we're going to talk about undertails for the 2017 Suzuki GSX-R 1000R. Now we know that Suzuki and the rest of the manufacturers have to meet regulations in different nations, and here in the United States too, and they have to put this huge undertail on there and license plate, and the lights are all sticking out. But today we're going to clean all that up, so stick with me, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So here's the package. This is the undertail. Yeah, I know you can't see it very well in the bag, but I just wanted to show you how they send it. They send it in a bag like this. Out of the Hot Body's little bag, this is what you get. You get the big bag right there, and then inside that big bag you have a little bag. You got these license plate brackets. As you can see, they're made of aluminum. Okay, and of course we've got some screws here and a couple nuts that have the little plastic built-in washer. Okay, and some electrical connector components. Okay, so for the undertail, you've got 3 LEDs here. There's one on the left, which they just tape it in there when they're shipping it. I already untaped this one. Goes into this side of the undertail. So there's the turn signal for one side, and then the turn signal for the other side. Okay, this is just an LED strip. Okay, and then there's a LED right here, a little tiny one. And that's for the license plate light. After you mount the license plate, let me flip this over. Okay, there's the LED right there, a little LED. So once we mount the license plate on here, this LED provides the light for the license plate, right, just to keep it legal. So that's what comes in the package. Some brackets, some wire connectors, 1, 2, 3 LEDs, which that I just have it sitting off to the side, but it'd go right there, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the inside. Okay, so let me get that light out of the way there. Let's flip this over, and this is the undertail. Notice it is super light, guys. I mean, this thing is, not even. I mean, it's probably definitely less than a pound, maybe 8 ounces, if that. So far the bond looks really good here, and that's with the Loctite. Let me you can see a little bit of the Loctite glue along that top edge, and again that was the Loctite Super Glue Ultra Gel Control. The first thing we do is we got to remove this screw right here. Okay, that's this one right here. Okay, this is a little side panel just below the gas tank, and it runs all the way back to here. There's a little bit of Velcro somewhere underneath here. I don't remember exactly where it is, but there's a Velcro piece in here too. Okay, little snap Velcro. So this is the first thing we got to do to start our process of taking the undertail off. Okay, pretty simple. We just take a 10mm little ratchet and hex and just remove it off right there. So I'm just going to do that now. I already loosened it up just for the sake of the video. Okay, so I'm just going to take it off of there. There you go. Pretty simple. Set that aside. So keep this pressed down. Yeah, oh, there's a little button back here. It's a little button behind here. It's about this long, and it presses in through a hole. So it's not a little push down tab. It's a button. Okay, and then I think you just lift up and pull it off underneath the seat. There you go. So there's a little button on that side. It goes into a hole right here. There's some Velcro right here. That goes right here. And on the very front is just a little tab. So that's what you got matched up. Okay. Tab in the front, screw there, Velcro here, a little tab that goes in the hole there, and then a button that goes in a hole right here actually. This button goes in this hole, and then another button goes into a hole here, so it's 2 holes here, one in here and here. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different connection points for the little panel on the side. The kick panel that just took off right here, a little side panel, that's a 4mm. Okay, just so you're wondering what size it is, 4mm little hex, right? Allen key type style. Okay. Okay, so now we got the panel off on both sides of the bike. Now we're going to take the seat off, and what we're interested in next is this bolt right here You can see it has a white background right next to this little hole here. Now that's a 5mm hex. Okay, a little extension, ratchet, and then we take it off on this side and do the same thing on the other side. Pretty easy to loosen up. Once we're loose, I usually just take the ratchet handle away and just use the extension itself. Pull it out there nice and gentle. And there you go. Next thing we do is we just remove the seat. It's pretty simple. You just lift up the front of the seat and it latches underneath there. You just pull the seat this way towards the front of the bike and the seat comes right off. Next, now that we have the seat off and the rear cover for the tail section, there are 8 different fasteners that now have to come off. Okay, I'm going to show them to you one at a time. So there's 2 here, 1, 2 in the back. Then the next 2, even though the light's kind of bad here, there's a hex here, 1 on this side as well. So that's 4, right? Total 4 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is all, we're taking the undertail off today, right? Replacing it. Then there's 2 tabs right here, 1 here and 1 here. So that's a total of 6 so far. And then the last 2 I should say, let me get on the other side of the bike, is a little bit better lighting. The last 2, and then 1 on each side, is 1 right here. It's just below where we took off the kick little side panel, right? It's a hex right there, we take that off. Okay, so for the first 2 that I showed you, well actually, these are the first 2 I showed you, but I'm doing these 2 first, right? So for these right here, these are 4mm. Okay, that's what that little hex Allen type head is, 4mm. So I'm gonna do those right now. 4 for these, 5mm for those. Okay. For the next 2, they're just little tab buttons. Okay, these 2 right here. So we've already taken off those 2, and that one, and that one, and now we're working on these 2. Okay, and on these 2, it's pretty simple. They're just little pop-up kind of mushroom type tabs. You can just pull them up with your finger. Okay, and if they don't come up, just take a little screwdriver and pop them out. They're nice and gentle. That's it, they just come right out, see? If you watch some of my other videos, you notice same thing on some of the body panels have the exact same thing. And that one I already kind of popped up, so I'm just going to pull it out, and that's it. The next thing we're going to do is take out the 4 push buttons underneath the undertail. So I'm just showing you one side because the light's better over here. So there's 1 here and 1 here. I already took them out. They're the exact same mushroom type buttons we just showed, and right on the top side of the motorcycle. So the exact same thing. You just pull them down with your fingernail, maybe a little soft screwdriver pull, and they pop right out. Okay, there's 4 of them. 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. Next thing you do is remove the key lock panel for the rear seat cover. Very simple. I already have it part of the way out. You see that? All you do is you just separate these 2 pieces like that. Just gently pull that from that, and then it just comes out. This is underneath there, right? And then once you separate the black from the blue, just give it a little press in each direction, kind of like that. You can see it flexing over there a little bit, right? So once you have the panel off, it looks like that. There's a cable right here. A little bit better lighting right there. So you can disconnect the cable if you want to. I normally do not. I just lay it aside and let it just sit there and make sure it doesn't scratch anything. But it's pretty easy to disconnect if you want to. Just take a close look at the mechanism. You can pop it out and work it off there. For now, I'm just going to leave it like that, and we're going to move on to the next part, okay? Now for the last 2, 1 on each side, right here. The 7th and 8th one fastener you need to take off. This is a 4mm, so you just take your ratchet, 4mm ratchet. That's it. Work it out. Now, if you're not aware of this, you can be sitting there struggling for a while trying to pull this thing off. So I'm going to show you 2 buttons. Okay, they're about this long. You can probably just, there it is. You can see it, right? Right there. You see that? That little piece sticking out from the bodywork goes into that hole right there. Okay, and there's 1 on each side. Okay. So if you don't know that's there, you'd be struggling trying to take off this tail on the back. Right, this whole tail, you're trying to take it off. You see how it's kind of loose now? If you don't notice that they're there, the other one, you can probably get a good look of it right there. It's pretty good light here. Okay. See it right there? That's it right there. My finger's touching it. That little blue plastic button that's permanently attached to the bodywork here, to this I call it a cover overtail, and it goes into this hole here. So that's what you got to pull it out. You got to pull it, just pop it out like that, nice and gentle on each side. Okay, you just pop them out. Boom, and then you can start pulling. Come from back here. And what I do is I just put my hand down here and just pull out a little bit on each side with both hands, and then pull this whole blue part back out. Okay. All right, so at this point, got my gloves on, just, some sharp edges. I'm gonna grab this side and pull it out like that. And the same thing on the other side. I'm just gonna pull it out a little bit and pull back, and let's see what we get here. And there we go. Sliding off nice and gentle. Okay, being careful not to scratch the bodywork, and there it is. Comes right off. Next thing we do is we gotta disconnect 4 different electrical connectors. Now the lighting here is a bit of a challenge, but we're gonna see if we can make this happen. So 4 different connectors have to be disconnected. You can see the big white one here. We gotta disconnect that one. And you can see the other white connector there, right? Just to the left of that orange. Big one is right here, you see it? There's that one. Now these you just pull out. You don't push in, you pull out. And then there's another one right here. And it's the same type of connector. It's kind of hard to see with this lighting. I think there you go. Same thing, you put your thumb underneath there or your finger, whatever. You pull out and then you disconnect, okay? So 4 different electrical connectors have to be disconnected. That's what we're gonna do now. We got the connectors disconnected. This is by far the hardest one. You gotta push down a tab and then pull it. I usually just put a screwdriver in the tab part on towards this direction and push down with a screwdriver, nice and gentle, really small screwdriver, and then gently pull them apart, because this is the hardest one to get off. It's a pain in the butt. I hate these type of 3-way connectors. The rest of these are really easy. Like I said, you just pull up the tab. You just pull that tab up like that. Boom. And separate them, and it's a piece of cake. 1, 2, right. Gray to gray, black to black. And then the white one that's right here. There's a little tab on that one too. You just press down on it and gently pull back. There's 4 bolts, 2 on this side, 1 here, and there's 2 more on the other side, right? That requires, I'm using a little small, but it's 10 millimeter. Take them off. Next, you just take a Phillips screwdriver and you take this screw out right here, which is attached, there's a tab for the undertail all the way up, okay? So you take this screw out next, and there's one on the other side, so just repeat the process on the other side. That zip tie right there, you don't cut it, okay? So it's holding the wiring in for the rear tail light and the blinkers and all that. It comes back underneath here and goes to the blinkers, okay? So don't cut that zip tie. There's a regular tongue for the zip tie, and then there's a little I'm gonna call an adjuster, if you will, or an unlocker tab on that zip tie. You just press down on it and then grab the zip tie a little bit and just pull it, and it'll loosen right up, okay? All right, so you can see that the 4 wires are off of there now, right? All right, 1 gray one, black one, 2 white ones. And there's that zip tie, right? Now I'm gonna talk about 3 bolts that no one's gonna tell you about when you're moving the undertail, okay? There's one right here, which I already took it out. Okay, you can see the undertail laying on the ground over there. I'm gonna show you where they mount up on the undertail in a moment, okay? So there's one right there. So if I can get you good light, you can see the light coming through the hole. Okay, that one's the easiest one to find. Okay, and this is before you take the 4 bolts out from underneath. Those 4 main bolts underneath, don't take them out. You gotta take 3 screws out up here on this plastic tray. Okay, there's one right there. You're gonna see that there's one laying in there. I just left it sitting there. I could take it out, but I just wanted to leave it there so you could see it. There's one right there. This is the battery, guys, underneath the seat. So just behind the battery, there's a screw right there. Okay, next to the battery, you're gonna take it out. There's a screw right down in there. I know you can see it if I just point the screwdriver right there, right there. That's it right there. You just unscrew that. I wanted to show you where those 3 screws actually attach to the inside the undertail. You can see 2 of them, 2 of the mounts right there, right? And the 3rd one's right there. Next, we're going to remove 3 screws to hold the rear tail light on to the stock undertail. Okay, there's one right here. There's one right here, and then of course there's another one just like this one on the other side. Okay, right here. Another thing you're probably not going to see in any instructions, I'm going to let you know how right here, okay, is you got one, you flip the undertail over on its back side. See how I have it laid upside down here? Okay. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to take out right there, okay? So for this piece to separate out from there, right, it separates through the wire harness. Okay, so the hole, there's a square hole there. It's kind of hard to see, but the wire is going to go through that square hole. So the screws I just showed you on the back side, you got to unscrew those 5 screws so you can separate these two pieces out, right? So there's your complete undertail assembly. While I'm at it, and I've got all this taken off, I'm going to also take off the clutch side rear passenger peg, okay? Because, well, let's be honest, nobody's going to sit on that right there. Just ain't going to happen on this bike. Okay, so I'm going to keep for now the other passenger rear peg because I still have stock exhaust on here and it's acting as the hanger for the exhaust, so I'm not going to remove that one yet. But in case you want to know, to take off the rear foot pegs for the passenger, that is I believe a 6mm. Yeah, it's 6mm. Just pull the plastic to the right. See how easy it is to move that? You just pull it to the right and it'll separate from this, right? This was originally in there. You just pull it to the right. And same thing on this side, you just give it a little push to the right, to the left. Right, it's very flexible, right? Hard to do with one hand on the camera, right? Look how flexible it is. And then this one, this was here. You just pull it out. I'm sorry, it was right there. It was on that little post right there. You just pull up and it comes out. Okay, it's very easy to remove. Don't try to sit there and pull the grommets out to get this out. That's not the way you do it. Okay, just separate the plastic apart like that. Okay, and it comes out. Take those 2 grommets right there and we're gonna just pinch them down and put them in this hole. One in this hole and one in that hole right there. Okay, so you can see that the grommets have been installed into the undertail, right? Let me flip this over. Looking at the hot body's undertail now. I just put glue right on the LED itself. Okay, and on the little bit of the ABS plastic, hot body's ABS plastic, and I press the 2 components together. Now don't use too much super glue. I use a little too much the first time. Okay, so don't use too much. And then just hold it there for about 30 to 60 seconds, and I'm gonna tell you, rock solid. It is not coming out of there. Now you can see you got the wires cut off, and they came off of the Suzuki stock undertail, right? That's the underside. We just cut them off right there, right? Hot Bodies does tell you which wires to hook up, but I'm gonna tell you something right now. Okay, you want to be 100% certain. What I do is I just temporarily tie these together, right? Just wire them up. I don't solder it. I just wire it up there. I take it out to the bike. I put the key in the ignition, and I put the turn signal on because I want to make doggone sure that once I solder this, it's correct. Okay, so this is the right side. This is the right turn signal. The green wire that you're seeing on the OEM connector for the right turn signal, the green wire, okay, goes to the red wire, so it would be this way, right? Goes to the red wire on the right turn signal, or to the LED for the right turn signal, okay? That's black connector for the right. For the gray connector, which is a left turn signal, black, okay, black, this one on this side, goes to red on the left turn signal. It's been soldered, right? There's some heat shrink over here that's just sitting on there. I put that on before I soldered, obviously, right? It's sitting there loose. That white wire coming from that little wire harness right there goes to the red wire on Hot Body's connection for the little LED license plate light, which is right there. Okay. A total of four connections to make. Okay. Actually, the fourth connection, that one to the tail light, you don't have to do anything with it because that's just when you take it off of the stock, OEM undertail. that whole piece, including the connection, just comes with it, so you don't have to touch that. So you're really just soldering and wiring, soldering, and heat shrinking 3 different connections. And so far I just have the undertail attached right here. Okay. Okay, you can see the bracket for license plate hanging there, and I have it also attached on the other side of the bike in the same spot. Okay. And over here, just for while I'm mocking it up to see how it fits, I've got a zip tie just going through the top of one of the holes here on the back of the subframe, the tail subframe. So the wires, I just have them zip tied together. That's the brake light wire and the 2 turn signal wires with their ends sticking out right here, right? So now I just slid on the cover, or the overtail if you want to call it that, and lined up these 2 mounting points with the bolts that we took out earlier. Okay. And just put them in there loosely. They're not in there tight, just put them in there loose. There's the 4 push-ins. Now right now these holes are not lined up. The black undertail has to have to go that way, further into this plastic piece here, so I'm still working on that. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what you're going to be dealing with when you put this on, okay? Once you get the undertail, just this black piece on the bike, okay? Get your wiring routed the way you think it's going to work for you. There's a little opening over here on the side, just on the black piece. It'll be helpful kind of as a guide, okay? Make sure that the blue part is being pushed that way and the black part's being pushed that way. You gotta tuck them in really nice. And all along this edge, you'll see them here and here. There's little notches where the grooves, where the grooves meet and they slide in. They're like little slots. You gotta really push them in there really good. Okay? Once you're done with that, the very first thing I did, the order I did it in, is get your push buttons in first on both sides. Let me tell you, it's a pain in the you-know-what. That took a while to get those lined up, but once I got those lined up and the push buttons in, the rest went pretty easy. The second things you're gonna do, once you get your push little mushroom tabs I just showed pushed in and lined up, the second thing you're gonna do is you get these pushed into the side. They pop in. Okay, you line them up and you pop them in. Okay, just one correction I'm gonna make about the order in which you do things. Don't put these in. You can put them in if you want, just to line things up and when you're getting your push buttons and everything going. Okay, but so don't put those in. Just a correction on the order in which you're going to do things. Don't put these in until first you get this key panel back in there for the rear seat lock, right? Okay, so the next thing I put in is I put in these 2 little machine bolts, one here and one here. Okay. And then I put what I call the mushroom push buttons, whatever you want to call them, the little plastic mushroom push buttons here and here to secure the rear seat key lock. Next, we're going to check to make sure that the rear seat actually locks back into place. A little hook right there, you can see it, right there in the back. That goes underneath that hook right there. So we first just tip the seat in there like that. Okay, looks like the seat's lined up good. We give it a little press, you hear a little click, and you're good to go. Next, we're going to put the main seat on, and you'll notice that there's a little hook right here. Okay. And there's a hook right here too. Okay. So on the seat, on the back side of the seat, you can see that little hook right there, right? White plastic little hook. Right? Just latches on. Those just go underneath those hooks. Okay. So we just tilt the seat forward like that, up high. Set it in there. Okay. Let me just take a quick look. Sorry, off camera here. Okay. Get the little white hooks hooked up with the metal hooks. And lower it right down in there, and that's it, okay? And then you'll notice right there is where we're going to put in our bolt, right? Just press the seat down a little bit and just screw it right in there. Put the side panel back on the clutch side. Remember when we uninstall where the tabs are at, there's a tabs about this long, or male projectors if you will. There's one right in this area that pushes in to the panel. There's one right up here. So on that one you gotta kind of tuck it under. As you tuck it under, you press it in and it'll push it into the female part, right? And then right in front of this line, about right here, is a Velcro patch. And press on it pretty good. You should hear like a little sandpaper gritty sound, and that's how you know that it's a stick and deed with each other, right? And of course you got the screw here, and there's a little bit of an under hook here, right up in here. Okay, so I just put that in there first. I just kind of press it up in there, and then I do the rest. Okay, it's the same thing on the other side. So there you go, guys. That's how you take that bike and make it look so sweet and so clean. That backside of that bike looks so good now. The LED lights, the brake light, everything looks so smooth. It's all cleaned up, man. It almost looks like a race bike, right? Well, it practically is straight from the manufacturer. Hey guys, listen, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, now's the time to do it. Go ahead and click that button right down below and give me a thumbs up in this video. We'll see you back right here again real soon.